Hi guys, welcome, CMO102 and yet another video. Again, this is one of those real basic quick videos. As you can see in the title right down there, the best, or shall I say, the richest team to be. Now, doesn't necessarily mean the richest team is the best team to be, and I'll explain why about that in a moment. Now obviously with the way I've got my settings on the current update install that I've got, I have them set to a specific way which makes this video more worthwhile. So let's start with Arsenal. Let's say Premier League, right? I have it that you can see the AI finances. So if you want to choose who to be, now this is how I chose a heads-up game I've got going with Pep network game. Basically, I did exactly what I'm going to do now. So let's look at Arsenal. 94 million to spend, 170 in the bank. Villa, and this is how you can see the richest team who to be. I mean, this is always interesting. This was, incidentally, this is what me and Pep had. He had Harrogate and I had, I think it's Barrow, and he had more transfer funds than he did balance. And I think that might be based on your chairman. I think, I'm not 100%. So Brentford would be a good challenge, bit of money to spend. Remember, I've got my inflation at 2.5 in comparison to ODB. Brighton, bit of money to spend at Brighton. Let me just also just really quickly hit on inflation. It isn't about you changing the bank balance only. Inflation changes absolutely everything which has a pound sign, which has a value. So your transfer value of a player, your transfer bidding of a player will need to be up by 2 times 5 compared to ODB. Your gate receipts, and so on and so on. Just want to make that clear. Burnley, 37 million. Burnley got relegated from the Premier League yesterday and I pissed myself. Chelsea. Now Chelsea, let me explain very, very quickly. Chelsea, the reason the update have put Chelsea in the red was to try and put it as close to realism as possible with regards to Chelsea's transfer embargo with all the old Russia-Ukraine thing. So that's why they are like that. I think they've also got a full squad of 50. Yeah, that is Chelsea. Let's go. Crystal Palace, 35 million to spend. Everton, 60. Well, you can do this in each division, of course, if you decide which division you want to start with. Leeds, 60, a bit of money from there. There's a lot of money being thrown about, isn't there? Leicester, 76. Liverpool, 167. We knew Liverpool. Man City, I knew Man City had a ridiculous amount. Man United, 205. Newcastle have got something stupid with their owners. Norwich, 24. It's one of the cheapest, I think, Norwich. Southampton, 54. Spurs, 104 million. Watford, 37. West Ham, 73. Who always need to buy players. And Wolves. Now, as far as the richest team to be or the best team to be, let's stay on Wolves for a minute. Another thing that I've also got implemented, you may have spotted this in one of my previous videos, see the training ground. Rather than just say excellent or insecure or needs investment or what, I've got the little open bracket there of their facilities, 17 out of 20. So as part of picking your team, you only normally would see finances rich, training ground excellent, but you can now see Wolves as to how much money they've got and what their training ground is exactly. You can obviously see the stadium, and they've got an all-seater under sort of heating, but 17 out of 20 for Wolves. West Ham, 14 out of 20, which is quite interesting given their stadium. Watford have a good one, 18 out of 20. Spurs, 20-20. Southampton, 19-20. Obviously on the lower scale divisions, this is a lot different. 15 for Norwich. Newcastle, 14 for Newcastle, surprisingly. 20-20 for United. 20-20 for City. And I'm guessing 20-20 for Liverpool. 20-20 for Leicester, bollocks. Leeds, 18. Everton, 18. Crystal Palace, 13. That has to be the worst at the minute, 13. Chelsea, 20-20. Burnley, 16. Brighton, 18. Brentford, 10. Bloody hell. Villa, 20-20. And Arsenal, 19. So Brentford would be the worst team. Now, like I said, you know, what I did, me and Pep recently had a game, and I started as Barrow. I think we flipped a coin. I think I rang him and flipped a coin. And what I did is I did exactly what I just done. And see, that's totally different. I mean, that was not, I mean, 50 grand in the bank for him to spend, and he had Harrogate. Look at that. So, I will say something else, right, about my particular install. I have it that you get season ticket money on the very first season. So, I don't know, that might have an influence on it. I'm not 100% sure. So you'll find most of the teams in this division, have a few £100 in the actual bank itself. And the idea was I wanted to have a challenge, and this is the way I chose it. You know, I went for everyone. I think Barrow and Harrogate were the two worst teams in terms of what they had in the balance. So 51 grand and Harrogate 64. But Harrogate had a bit more, which is exactly what it has. Harrogate had a facilities 3,800 with a 500 seater, 5 out of 20 good. And I had a slightly same training ground, but a slightly better facility. So it sort of balanced things out a little bit. So, you know, and you can do that in across all the leagues. It depends if you've got your settings like that. You know, I mean, I think when you're playing with the settings on the patches, I'd really only suggest doing these sort of settings on the update personally. So that is that. So I hope you enjoyed this real quick blast of a video. If you've got any questions, anything you want to know, don't hesitate to jot it in the box right down there, and I'll try and answer it. If you've got anything doing, let me know, CMO102 related. Till next time, guys, take it easy.